welcome to a fantastic interview that you're about to experience, featuring some of the great performers in our intermediate youth group production of High School Musical. And I would like to introduce you to those who are playing Martha. Let me go back to my other view here. Martha and Taylor. Wave if you're Martha. Those are the Marthas. And wave if you're Taylor. There's the Taylors. Great. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here today. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to do this interview. I think it's important for people to see who's going to Marquee, what are they doing over there, and are they just playing? What are they doing? What are we doing? So I want to start off. Let's start off by talking about your characters. So let's start off by talking about Martha. Who can tell me just a little bit about Martha? All right, Kate.
So all of her friends think of her as like a nerd, like she's really smart, she's really, she gets really good grades, but inside she's a really like fun hip hop kind of girl who really likes to dance and do hip hop.
Perfect. Yeah. So in this show, there are different groups of people. What group would Martha belong to? Kate. Do you know what
she would probably belong to like the nerds, maybe.
Yeah, but you know how there's like the jocks. She's not a jock.
No.
Do you know what she is? Who knows what she is? Is she a brainiac?
Yeah.
She's a brainiac, yeah. She's a smarty pants. So that's why when she decides to disclose that she likes to dance, that's like, what? Right? So who else has anything else to say about Martha? Anything else about her personality? What she's like? Nope, we covered it all. All right, what about Taylor? Who would like to speak to Taylor? Georgia, your hand went up first.
Taylor is also in the Brainiacs clique. She's really smart, and she's the first person that Gabriella meets when she comes to the school.
Right.
And she's like Gabriella's best friend. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the video, she ends up getting she ends up getting together with Chad. Mm-hmm. So, and she gets really good grades, and she also has like a sass to her.
Mm-hmm. Good. Anything else? Anybody else? Yes, Kathleen?
Well, I feel like she's not just the Brainiac, she's the leader of the Brainiacs. Kind of like how Chad and Troy are the leader of the jocks. Taylor's the leader of the Brainiacs.
Very good. I just realized I didn't actually introduce you guys, did I? Well, we need to fix that. Let's just give a little wave when I say your name. So we have Darcy. Give a wave. There you go. Kate. There we go, Georgia. And Charlie. And then we have Eva. And then we have Kathleen. And we have Alexandra. There we go. I'm so sorry. I know you. I know who you are. I wasn't thinking at all. But anyway, all right. So yeah, definitely. So this is great information. Now, some of you, I think Alexandra, you play more than one character, and sometimes that happens depending on the size of the cast that we have, and making sure that, sometimes you only do one role depending on the script and the abilities of, changing costumes, for instance, or, that kind of stuff. There's lots of things that play into it. But I think you play an extra role. And what is your other role?
Sheldon,
which is part of the prologue. And it's a neat little skit that we, one of our staff members wrote, and it's taken off right from the Sheldon character from The Big Bang Theory, right? He's like a little smarty pants, which fits into the brainiacs of that particular clique that Georgia mentioned earlier. There's different cliques in this show. So before we get even into the casting of the show, we have to go through an audition. How about we talk about the auditions? Tell me how you prepare for your audition. Eva.
So this was my first show. So I wasn't really sure how to prepare, but I ended up going over the like audition material. We get Bob doing, or the dancing coach doing a video. And it's really helpful when you go through the step by step and then work your way to getting faster. And then there's a vocal track which I worked with, and then ended up going to the instrumental track afterwards. And it helped me just to go over it so I feel confident.
Cool. And what about the acting part?
Yeah, the acting as well. I made sure that my scenes were memorized. And my mom helped me, so she would be one person and I would be the other person. Then we would switch.
Yeah, perfect. Does anybody else have another method or anything else to add that they've tried? Kate?
It's simply just like going over the lines again and again, and going over the dance steps again and again, and going over the song lyrics again and again until it's in your brain.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah, I can see a lot of you are nodding your head. Yep, that's what I did. And that is definitely the key in theater, is repeating, repeating, repeating. The more we repeat things, you teach your body. We've got this thing called muscle memory, and your body eventually just memorizes how to do it without you really having to think too hard about it. So yeah, so putting time into your preparation of your audition is critical, isn't it? It really matters. I don't know many people who can just go in there and just wing it and like not put any time into it and do a better job than someone has clearly practiced a lot. You know, it would be very challenging to land a leading role and not having worked at it at all. It's not recommended, shall we say. Perfect. So how many of you have ever been cast in, okay, so wait, Eva, you told us that this was your first production.
Yeah.
So how many of you have done more than that? Okay, why don't you tell us, Darcy, you tell us a little bit about your history in theater.
So I didn't come to Marquee until like 2019. But before that, I had been in a school production of Annie and a camp production that still wasn't Marquee of The Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
And I came here because my music teacher said it would be good for me. So, yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. Neat. Very good. So you've done a few shows. Yes, Georgia?
I've been here for about 5 years now, and I've done around 9 productions, and my mom's friend introduced us to this place, and it's been really, really fun, and I've met a lot of my good friends here.
Yeah, we have some neat people at Marquee, that's for sure. Charlie?
I think I've been here for 5 or 6 years, and I've done 12 productions. And at my school, the music teacher kind of doesn't like teaching us. And so I kind of heard of Marquee through some of my friends, and then I came. First play was I got an ensemble role. But then the next one I got a lead, so that really encouraged me to keep like thinking positively. And now this, yeah.
Perfect. Kathleen?
Oh, okay. So I came to Marquee 3 years ago, and before this production of High School Musical, I only ever did some summer camps and March break camps.
Right.
So this was like my first like kind of like big musical that I did. But before that, I used to live in Alberta.
Oh.
So yeah, when I used to live there, there used to be like little skits that they did like every summer for like all like the little kids, for like people like me. So that's all I really did before I came to Marquee.
Gotcha. Okay. What about you, Alexandra?
I haven't been to Marquee very long. This is only my second production. My first production, I got like the apple vendor, which is not a very exciting role. We got like, I think 2 lines, but I decided I was somewhere like midway in the show. I decided if I was going to be the apple vendor, I was going to be the best apple vendor I could be.
That a girl. That is the best attitude. That is exactly what you do. So you are, I guess you've said you've what you're kind of saying is that you kind of felt a little disappointed when you first got the role. And then how many of you have ever felt that? Have ever felt like, oh, I really wanted to get this role and I didn't get it, and so I felt disappointed when I got that. Yeah, it's a very common thing to happen. It's no different in life when, say, when you're an adult and you're going for a job interview and you really want this job interview and they can only pick one person and you didn't get it, right? It's definitely the same sort of feeling. And in theater, it's very hard to not take it personally. It's very hard because it feels so personal. So what is it that at the beginning you felt disappointed? How did you feel towards the end of doing that role, and what did you learn? So 2 questions. Georgia.
Well, in one of my more recent plays, I did Thoroughly Modern Millie, and it was my first elite production at Marquee. So I ended up getting ensemble, but it ended up teaching me a lot about like doing like dances and stuff because the ensemble are in a lot of the dances. And at first I was really disappointed because I was like, oh, I really wanted the lead and I really wanted to have all those lines. But I was with my friends and I learned a lot from the teachers, and it ended up being a really good experience.
Very good. So did you feel like you actually grew as a performer even with that ensemble role?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. And Charlie, what about you? Something else?
Well, I was in the adult production of Matilda recently with my mom, and after we auditioned, we kept thinking, okay, well, what if one of us doesn't get in while the other does? What's going to happen then? Like, obviously, we're going to be happy for one another, but it's going to be hard. So we both got in, and my mom got a more secondary to lead role, and I got ensemble. But I realized that, like, I was happy because I met so many amazing people, and I just felt so included the whole time, regardless of my role.
Perfect. So ensemble roles are not all that bad, really, are they? Kathleen, something else you want to add?
Oh, yeah, I remember I was in a March break production of Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yes.
And I remember at first thinking that this was like the worst role I ever got because I was blanket seller number 1. And I thought like this is the like lowest point that like I've ever had in acting.
Yes.
But then like it turned out to be like a pretty like decent role because like it's a pretty like secondary role in the grand scheme of things.
I know. I remember that. I remember when that happened now that you speak about it. And I do think, so I got to say, I deal with this a lot because, I mean, it's a natural reaction, right? It is a natural feeling. And sometimes, I mean, it really comes down to the mix of people in a group and their skill set, whatever, their singing, acting, dancing skills, whatever that might be, and where you are in that classroom. So if you took a classroom today and it's filled with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, those people, and you're in that, and you're like here in that classroom. Now we finished that show, blah, 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 yeah, hoorah, hurrah, cast party, yay. Move on to the next show, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, same people are in that group. Do you think that you're still necessarily here? And why not? Does anybody know? Kate.
Well, I definitely think that even after one show, you can definitely improve so much.
Absolutely.
So even if it's just 1 year later and they're still the same people, I definitely think you can still really improve from that one show.
Absolutely. Now, not only can you improve, but so can G, who was here, go all the way up to there. Like that light bulb moment, how that process happens. the mixture flips around like crazy sometimes. And it's really it's interesting to sit back and watch how, you know, the growth pattern goes on within each person, and how prepared were they when they came to this audition. And then we also deal with, now that was a scenario where everybody was the same, but then we have scenarios like Eva's, for instance, where you have new people who come in who we don't know what their skill set is. We don't know until we see them audition. We have no idea. So it is a mixed bag. And so what is something that you've learned in terms of how to approach an audition? Is there anything that you can, some advice that you might be able to give to somebody out there? Georgia?
Well, along with like preparing for your audition, like the material, you also have to be like mentally prepared, like for anything that's going to happen. And like when you see other people, even if you feel like they're better than you, that shouldn't take away from your talent.
Yeah.
And you should know that you have to just try to be your best, and whatever happens, you can't change that. So
you can only do your very best. You can't control what everybody else does, right? But you can control what you do. So yes, Alexandra, something else you want to share?
I've seen people get really stressed, even not necessarily in just is specifically in auditions, but like public speaking,
Yes.
anything where they have to stand up in front of people. And when I say I don't get scared, but like when people get scared, what's the worst that can happen? Worst that can happen is you don't get the role you're hoping for, and then that's it. That's the world doesn't explode. No one's in the hospital.
Yes.
You just don't get the role you're hoping for. That's it.
That's it. And only one person can have that role,
Mhm.
right? Only one person can. And there's always a handful of people who wanted the role. So guess how many people are going to be disappointed? Everybody but that one person, right? Well, you know, I think that you guys are all such beautiful souls. You have learned so much and have risen to such a position where you're just so, it's a pleasure to work with you, to speak with you, and to hear what you've learned and hear that you've learned these things. It's so enlightening to hear you grow and become, you know, you're on your way to young adults now. And so I found this a very interesting discussion that we've had, and I want to thank you for contributing to it. And I do want to thank you again for sharing your time with us today. And I think I'd like to send a message out. There's a great song in this show that has a title that, you know, with everybody in self-isolation, and some people maybe are feeling alone or lonely, that kind of thing. This particular song has a great message in there because they're not alone. So let's say it all together. 3, 2, 1.
We're all
this
together.
together.
Yeah, some of you sang it, some of you spoke it. That's great. That's such an artist thing to do. We all do things our own little way. That's right, folks. We are all in this together. And we're hoping that maybe we brought you a little bit of sunshine to your day by talking to these young people and who are just incredible, not only incredible performers, but they're just incredible people. And so I thank you once again for giving us your time. And we would like to say to you all, we wish you a wonderful day, and keep well and keep safe. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.